There's a verse in 2 Samuel chapter 11, which says, "It was now springtime, the time when kings go to war." Well, every spring in many countries, it's not the time when kings go to war, but unfortunately, awful wars are still happening. Awful wars are still happening. And springtime increases their pace. But springtime is also the time when the glorious sacrament of confirmation is bestowed on many, many people, mainly young people, but adults also throughout the world. But we got a big problem with confirmation. Confirmation is actually supposed to equip the people who receive the sacrament to be soldiers of Christ, to be public witnesses. And oftentimes that's not what's happening. One of the sad things right now, one of the elephants in the living room of the Catholic Church, is the theology of the sacrament of confirmation that we talk about in the Catechism of the Catholic Church is glorious. It talks about the gifts of the Holy Spirit. It talks about strengthening people to be public witness. And many people who receive the sacrament don't have that understanding and don't have that desire. They're doing it maybe because the parents are making them do it, or the grandparents are making them do it, or everybody in the 8th grade does it, or, everybody a certain age does it, or peer pressure or whatever. But a lot of people experience confirmation as the last thing they have to do, and then they can stop going to church. That is not only sad, but it's scandalous. Well, this year, my wife and I have 3 confirmations of grandchildren to go to. We can't both go to all of them. My wife right now is on the East Coast somewhere going to somebody's confirmation. And we were talking on the telephone, and she actually made a comment that I think is very worthwhile passing on to you, and hopefully you can pass it on to priests and bishops that you might know that could help increase the effectiveness of the sacrament of confirmation. She told me how the homily that the bishop gave at this confirmation was really, really good. But she felt like a lot of kids weren't able to take it in because of all the other things that go along with confirmation, like, is the bishop going to slap my cheek, or am I going up to receive the sacrament properly, or what about the celebration afterwards, or somebody didn't come that I thought would come, or, just all the other things that surround confirmation. Is the bishop going to ask me a question that I don't know how to answer? And all those things are, I guess, an unavoidable part of the sacrament. And the main thing that needs to be done to increase its effectiveness is preparation, and not feeling like everybody the same age needs to make the sacrament at the right time, but we need to have more individual preparation. Or if we have group preparation, we need to have individual meetings with each of the students, see, is this what you want? Is this what you feel ready to do? If you're not ready to do it, it's okay, that type of thing. And I've written an article called Sacramental Crises and the Wisdom of Thomas Aquinas, Post-Christendom Sacramental Crisis and the Wisdom of Thomas Aquinas. He says if you can have an objectively valid sacrament being presented, being celebrated, but it not be fruitful in people's lives because the subjective preconditions aren't there. He says if you don't turn away from sin, you're not going to experience the grace of the sacrament. If you don't desire what the sacrament's about, you're not going to experience the grace of the sacrament in a way that really makes a manifest difference. But here is the suggestion my wife made, and I want to pass it on to you, and I hope you'll pass it on to others. She said, this sermon was really good. What the bishop was saying was really good. And she just wished that maybe a little booklet could have been created with the bishop's homily, a little bit like the program for the sacrament of confirmation, and given out to each of the students being confirmed so that in a quiet moment, they could actually read it and meditate it and reflect on it and really hear what the bishop was saying. I have to agree with her. I think generally speaking now, the sermons being given by bishops for the sacrament of confirmation are really good. They've had a lot of practice. They've done a lot of confirmation, and they've refined their sermons to get across really important points. But if we could put them in a little booklet and give it to the people being confirmed, we're at least going to give a better chance of the person being confirmed, understanding what happened, and maybe opening their soul a little bit more to it. So my wife, Ann, I think it's a good suggestion. Pass it on to priests and bishops you know, and maybe we can help some students being confirmed really meditate on what the sacrament's all about and experiencing it in a fuller way. God bless you.